जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जाओ विष्णुपाद परम प्रपंचकचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद शिला भाई शरणविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्लोपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णविंद की जय। नमः हरदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद सद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद रत कुंद गिरी गोवर्धन की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल ओ ग्लोरियस assembled devotees Hare Krishna ओ glorious assembled devotees Hare Krishna ओ glorious assembled devotees Hare Krishna ओ glorious to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga all glorious to Srila Prabhupada Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnapadaputere Shrimati Radharani Swami Ramani Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnapadaputere Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarane Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Preshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 33. Nadyosa nadyo tatanuruhani mahi ruha vishvatanor nripendra ananta viryah shvasitam matarishva gatirvayah karma guna pravaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki. O King, the rivers are the veins of the gigantic body, the trees are the hairs of his body, and the omnipotent air is his breath. The passing ages are his movements, and his activities are the reactions of the three modes of material nature. Purport. The personality of Godhead is not a dead stone, nor he is inactive, as is poorly thought by some schools. He moves with the progress of time, and therefore he knows all about the past and future, along with his present activities. There is nothing unknown to him. The conditioned souls are driven by the reactions of the modes of material nature, which are the activities of the Lord. As stated in the Bhagavad-gita 7.12, the modes of nature act under his directions only, and as such no natural functions are blind or automatic. The power behind the activities is the supervision of the Lord, and thus the Lord is never inactive, as it is wrongly conceived. The Vedas say that the Supreme Lord has nothing to do personally, as is always the case with superiors, but everything is done by his direction. As it is said, not a blade of grass moves without his sanction. In the Brahma Samhita 5.48, it is said that all the universes and the heads of them, the Brahmas, exist only for the duration of his breathing period. The same is confirmed here. The air on which the universes and the planets within the universes exist is nothing but a bit of the breath of the unchangeable Virat Purusha. So even by studying the rivers, trees, air and passing ages, one can conceive of the personality of Godhead without being misled by the formless conception of the Lord. In the Bhagavad-gita 12.5, it is stated that those who are much inclined to the formless conception of the Supreme Truth are more troubled than those who can intelligently conceive of the personal form. The translation again. O King, The rivers are the veins of the gigantic body. The trees are the hairs of his body. And the omnipotent air is his breath. The passing ages are his movements, and his activities are the reactions of the three modes of material nature. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Svavadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bahivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today we'll continue discussion about the Virat Purusha, the Virat Rupa, the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we can see from these descriptions that everything we can perceive with our senses is in fact part of the Lord. It's not separate from the Lord. Nothing is separate. The Lord is absolute. So nothing can be outside of the Lord. And everything can remind us of the Lord. And everything is conducive also to go deeper in our spiritual understanding. Yes. And that's why we also read Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures. And that's why Shukadeva Goswami is explaining Virat Rupa, Virat Purusha to Maharaj Parikshit, to go deeper in spiritual understanding, to connect with Krishna. So here it is said by Shukadeva Goswami that the rivers are the veins of the gigantic body. Yes, the rivers, Hare Krishna, the rivers are in fact like veins, it is said. And what are the veins for in our body? What are the purpose of the veins? Transporting the blood. Yes, transporting life, in fact. In Bible it is, they equate life with blood. So this is our blood. Our blood is what brings us life, what makes us alive. So and it should be constant flow of blood. So what is the blood of the devotee? That it should be in constant flow.
Love to God.
Sorry?
The love to God. The love to God.
Love to God. Uh-huh. Our love to God. Yes, this should be constant flow. But to develop such love for God, um, we should chant the holy name. It says Trinada Pisunichna Taroriva Sahishnana Amanina Manadina Kirtaniyak Sadahari. Sada means always. So it should be constant flow of the holy name. This is the blood of the devotee. Yes. So it is also said in the first shloka of Shikshashtaka, first verse of Shikshashtaka, that is Vidyavadu Jivanam, that the holy name is in fact the life. It's life. So we should not never neglect chanting of the holy names. Yes. As explained, as I said yesterday, maybe some of you were at the lecture, that we should put aside the most quality time of our days to chant the holy name, to chant the holy name, and to chant the holy name, and to concentrate, to chant with deep longing for establishing our relationship with the Lord. And this is in fact the only way to deepen our relationship with the Lord. Because if we just stay on some superficial level and we don't connect with the Lord, we can never develop love for the Lord. As you said, it's important. It's also our life, of course. But if you don't go deep, how can we develop love? Or even many times I can see that devotees think that yes, these are advanced stages of spiritual understanding, to have love and so on. But I'm at the present level, so what to do? I just chant just to finish my rounds. It's okay to finish rounds, no problem, but if we want to just finish our rounds, then we will achieve just this, just finish our rounds. And there will be no connection. So if we want to establish connection with the Lord, we should really long for it. We should long for it. Yes, deeply long for it. Without deep longing, nothing will be achieved. Because the longing is the sign that we want something, isn't it? If you really hanker for something, for some material things, then you do everything to get them, and you meditate upon them and developing more and more greed for it. The more time you don't have it, more you have greed for it. But in spiritual life, many times we can see that we become slack and think that spiritual perfection will come on its own. We'll just chant 20 years and then will come, or 50 years and they will come. And this is not just the case for Hare Krishna devotees. Don't think that I'm blaspheming any of you. This is the common idea among religious people. they believe that, especially they believe that death will bring them some miracle. Do you agree? For example, um, they I'm coming from Catholic background, and usually these Christians live ordinary life, ordinary materialistic life. They maybe go to church every Sunday if they're really pious, but usually even they don't go every Sunday, maybe for great holidays. And but otherwise they live like everyone else, ordinary material life. And at the end of life, they think that they will go to heaven, isn't it? And um, and many devotees I have uh, met in my life and seen that they're not really deeply in spiritual understanding, and they don't long to achieve the Lord and pray, and they chant here and there, and they catching their rounds all day long, not focused on their chanting, and they tend to think, yes, Krishna is merciful, and at the end of life I'll go to spiritual world. So in both cases, people expect some miracle that will happen, um, but there is no miracle. Krishna explains, "Yam yam vapi smaram bhavan tyajantyanti kalivaram tam tam aveti kauntaya sada tad bhava bhavita." That whatever state of consciousness one has at the time of death, that state he will achieve. So no miracle. Krishna says no miracle. So if your consciousness is now Vaikuntha consciousness, then you will enter Vaikuntha, no problem. Or Goloka Vrindavan. But we should now live in Goloka Vrindavan. Death will not bring this miracle to us that will put us in Goloka Vrindavan. No, we should now live in Goloka Vrindavan. Yes. So this is the purpose, not to attain something promised after death. These are common religious beliefs. We should achieve now while living. Yes. This is the perfection. This is true perfection, to achieve now. Yes. So this should be our blood, chanting of the holy names, constant chanting. Especially we should chant in the morning, early in the morning before our day starts, and chant and chant and chant. And switch off the phone, switch off everything, put newspapers away. um, we should throw out of the house the television because it's one-eyed guru. Have you heard about this expression before? About the television? One-eyed guru. A guru with one eye. Yes, and it's detrimental for our consciousness. Also, internet many times is detrimental for our consciousness. So these are rivers, which are veins of the gigantic body. So our veins should transport the holy name, and it's interesting. There was, I think, Krishna Das Babaji in Vrindavan, Prabhupada's god brother, and he always chanted the holy name, always, 24 hours a day. And once he was unconscious, something happened to him, and they brought him to doctors. And doctor listened to his heart with the stethoscope, and all he heard was Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Although he was unconscious, the holy name was always going on in his heart. It was impossible to stop him, to chant. Yes, so we should strive to this. Of course, we are not on this level, but we should hanker to achieve it. The trees are the hairs of his body. It's interesting. There are many examples with trees in Holy Scriptures. One is we mentioned before Shikshashtaka, and the tree is used as a metaphor for to be patient like a tree. Trinada pisunichana taroriva suhishnuna amanina manadina kirtanya sadahari. Taro is tree, sahishnuna. So we should be tolerant like a tree. And it is also explained in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna, after this lila of stealing clothes from the gopis, he went with friends through the forest, and before noon the sun already was very hot, and he noticed that trees are throwing shadow and cool everyone down. So he started to glorify the trees, to praise the trees, and and he said that the trees, everyone who approaches a tree never goes away disappointed. The trees give fruits. The trees give wood to make us warm. They give shade. Everything we get from the trees. And he explained, Etavajanya safalyam dihinamiha dehishu pranar artardiya varcha shreya acharanam sada. And he also uses this word sada, always. And what we should always do, etavajanya safalyam, that the perfection of life is achieved if we dedicate our life to service of others, like the trees. Like the trees. And he says, by using prana artha, prana means what? Our life. That we use our life for the service of others. Artha, that we use our wealth for the service of others. Diya, that we use our intelligence for the service of others. And vacha, our words for the service of others. Yes. And always, and only in this way we can achieve perfection, by service. So I remember when I first came to Krishna consciousness, I was reading books, and I realized now I have to become a servant. This was a shock for me. Yes. I thought, oh my God, I never wanted to be a servant. No, I should become a servant. Yes, but Krishna is pointing out in 10th canto in this regard that even trees are better than brahmanas who don't serve others. Because immediately the next lila is when they went, he sent his boyfriends to yogic brahmanas to collect food for Krishna. And the yogic brahmanas didn't want to give food. They didn't respond to Lord's request. So, because this is one lila after another, it's explained by our acharyas that Krishna wanted to point out that even trees are better than brahmanas who don't serve others. Yes, so how it's important it is for us to be tolerant, because we are speaking about trees as example, to be tolerant like a tree, and to offer our service to everyone, because Jivara Svarupa Hoy Krishna Nitya Das. By our eternal nature, we are always Krishna's servants. And since every living entity is Krishna's part and parcel, that means that we are servants of every living entity. But as I pointed out, I don't know if yesterday or on Wednesday, that we shouldn't serve, of course, in the way the conditioned souls want. For example, if they want to send us for to buy cigarettes for them, we won't do this. Or something else crazy, because we should know that they're in diseased condition, and patient many times is mad, doesn't know what is good for him and what is not. And this is the duty of a physician, of a doctor, to know what is beneficial for the patient and what is not. So he serves the patient in such a way that the patient will get better, not in the way that the patient wants, who is crazy. So, in the same way, we should serve every living entity in the way that they will get better. And that means that in the best possible condition we are when we are servants of Krishna, when we are devotees of Krishna. So we should help everyone to become Krishna devotees. Yes, this is para upakar. This is the highest service to everyone. Yes. Okay. This is about the trees. And then here is a description about the omnipotent air is his breath. The breath of the devotee, what can we say about the breath? Breath is something that goes in and goes out, isn't it? So, if we take this example of intake and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling, one example we can make with studying of Shastra. Studying of Shastra is like breathing of a devotee, because we take in and we should also give out. Not just that we read just for ourselves uh, and keep it for ourselves, but we should give we should give this knowledge also to others. Yes, um, and Krishna explains that if we give this knowledge to others, we are most dear to him. Nachat tasman manusheshu kaschin mek priya kritama bhavita nachame tasmat aneh priya tarobavi. He says that no one will be so dear to me as one who explains this knowledge to others, especially if they are devoted, if they are austere, uh, they're not envious. Yes. So we should of course discriminate who is able to um, mm, to receive this knowledge, and in which dosage is he is able to receive it. Yes. So study of Shastra is extremely important, like breathing, because and this is explained by Shastra itself. Um, it says, Kamarasya nindriya pritir labo jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jigyasa nartoyashchika karma bhi. That we should live for tattva jigyasa, for inquiring about the absolute truth. And in Chatur Shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam is also explained like this: Itavatevat jigyasam tattva jigyasunatmana anvaya vyatirekabhyam yatsya sarvatra sarvada. That we should inquire about absolute truth in all times, and directly and indirectly, and in all places. So the Vedas don't support blind following. In fact, they condemn blind following and encourage inquiring. Also, if you approach Guru, it's not just for some fashion. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. It should be pariprashna and seva. Yes, as we said before, it should be. We should inquire and we should serve, and by this we will receive transcendental knowledge. And by receiving transcendental knowledge, we can live in Goloka Vrindavan even now. Otherwise, what will be our meditation without knowledge? And this knowledge is not dry jnana. Many times I met devotees also who think that knowledge from Shastra is some kind of jnana, and for bhakti you don't need jnana. Have you heard about this? Such statements? I heard. But this is not monistic jnana. This jnana is devotional service, is shravanam. Shravanam is the beginning of devotional service, because shravanam is the beginning, the basis. Without shravanam there is no kirtanam. First is shravanam. Yes, first is hearing, and studying Shastra is definitely hearing. And even if we look at the definition of pure devotional service, Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. Here is also mentioned jnana. So jnana, which means spiritual understanding, shouldn't cover our devotional service, but not that it should be shunya, that without jnana. So we should use jnana for service of Krishna and to develop our deeper appreciation for Krishna, deeper love for Krishna. Yes, so we should study. And even Krishna himself says in fourth chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Nahi jnanena sadrasham pavitramiha viditi, tatsvayam yoga samsiddha kalinatmani vindati. That nothing is so purifying as transcendental knowledge, and so pure in this world. So, but we should know what is true transcendental knowledge. True transcendental knowledge is to become a servant of Krishna, to become a devotee. This is knowledge. Otherwise, we are living in darkness. In darkness. For the moment we forget that we are servants, we live in this moment, we are in darkness. Yes, in tamas, in avidya. Avidya about our existence, who we really are. And then we identify with something that we are not. And this is Maya. Prabhupada's definition of Maya. To think something that is not, that is true. Okay? Then the passing ages are his movements. So, passing ages. Material world is, of course, not the only stable thing in material world is change. Only unchangeable reality of material world is change itself, always changing. So we should know this. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramayi ki jai, Shri Gurnitai ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. We should know this, and we should not base our life on these grounds, on material nature. If we count on material nature to make us happy, we'll be definitely disappointed. So if we think that our husband will make us happy, or our wife will make us happy, or our children will make us happy, or our friends will make us happy, or our parents will make us happy, we are in complete illusion. And we will definitely suffer. Definitely suffer. The more we are attached to this idea that others will make us happy, the more we will suffer. And because the relationship in the material world, these different relationships are worse and worse. People are afraid of relationship with God, because there so many times were disappointed in this material world that they are afraid to be disappointed again, in absolute sense. So that's also one of the reasons why impersonal idea is so prominent in modern world, because people are afraid of personal relationships, especially eternal one. Because they think, okay, if the relationship with this one, this guy or this girl will not work out, then I can choose another one. But the relationship with the Lord is eternal, so it's more frightening. Yes. So people many times want to just vanish, that they're not existing anymore when they're frustrated. And sooner or later everyone is frustrated in the material world. This is the purpose of the material world, to make us frustrated. Yes. So no one will escape. And everyone is experiencing suffering in this world. Everyone. Every day. Even the need that we have to go to the toilet is some kind of suffering, isn't it? If we postpone this call of nature, then the suffering is more acute and greater suffering. So every day we suffer. Even kings suffer every day. Everyone in this material world. So the only solution to transcend this world of suffering is to connect in loving service to Krishna. And then his activities are the reactions of the three modes of material nature. Yes, three modes of material nature are all pervading, in fact. Everything in this material world is under influence of three modes of material nature. And by these three modes we are conditioned. It is explained in 14th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, in 17th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, in 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. Is Krishna speaking about the modes of material nature. So in 3 chapters he is speaking about the modes. So he must believe that they're important to understand about the 3 modes. So we should also understand. It's important also for us, especially for us. What are these modes? How to influence our consciousness? And mode of goodness, it is explained in 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that conditioned one with knowledge and happiness. He becomes addicted to knowledge and happiness. So he's conditioned. He's not free. Yes. So and mode of goodness leads one to higher consciousness and to higher planets, and brings about spiritual knowledge. The mode of goodness. So it's conducive for our spiritual journey to be in the mode of goodness. But as is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, we cannot rise to mode of goodness without devotional service. Nashta preshva bhadrashu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloki bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. When bhakti becomes naishtiki, tada rajastamo bhavaha kamalobhadayaschi chetaretara navidam stitam sattve prasidati. That only when we are fixed in devotional service, by Shravanam and Kirtanam, by serving, by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, serving the Lord's devotees. When we become fixed in devotional service, only then, tada means then, tada rajastamo bhavaha kama loba dayaschi. We can transcend these lower influences of rajas and tamas, of passion and ignorance. Yes, that means that only by devotional service we can rise to the mode of goodness and beyond. And beyond. Yes. And of course, passion um, leads to greed and envy and great endeavor to achieve something material. Great endeavor. And ignorance is just lamentation, inaction, complaining. So we can check our state of consciousness by reading Bhagavad-Gita. That if we are prone to complaining, this is mode of ignorance. And if we are prone to work very hard to achieve some material goal, this is mode of passion. Yes, and if we are prone to study and be happy in yourself, this is mode of goodness. But we should transcend all of these modes, and it is explained by Krishna himself. Mamcha yovya vicharena bhakti yogena sivate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Only by unalloyed devotional service one can transcend these modes. Mamcha yo vyabhicharena. But avyabhicharani bhakti only. It's possible. Yes, avyabhicharani bhakti. Pure devotional service. Yes. So I invite you to take this path very seriously. Not to count on some miracle at the time of death. But to make your life a miracle, to accept Krishna in your heart now and live with him forever, now and after death also. Hare Krishna. Have any questions or comments? Doubts? Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. You just explained us so many topics very important in devotional service. And I see that in my life, for example, this topic of gunas, yeah, I see how they fight in my life. For example, if time to time I go to bed late, and then next day I'm oversleep, and then I feel like I start to chant late, and then day coming, and there is duties, and I have to act. And then I feel like whole day then become under influence of tamadun. And what is interesting for me, if it's happened, maybe I don't know how was it in your life, but maybe can you share your personal experience how you act in this situation when it's already done this situation, and how to elevate myself when this situation has come to my life.
Everyone has his own situations, of course. I personally postpone everything else and just chant. For me, the chanting is the first thing in my life, so I don't bother if anything else stops. Of course, I have to do it later then, and I have many problems because I spaced out something. But if I would spaced out the holy name, it would be much worse, at least for me. This is my way of dealing things, but maybe it's not possible for others. Have a different situation. So it's wise to go early in bed and to rise early, very early, before the day starts. Yes, that you have quality time for chanting. Otherwise, we cannot develop relationship with Krishna. If you just chant, just to finish our rounds, and our minds are all over the world, and especially if we chant and scroll through internet, and then it's completely detrimental for our spiritual life. I met a devotee who was watching MBA during his japa time. And he said the rounds were just flying by. Yes. And his spiritual life also flew by. He's not a devotee anymore. So we should be careful. We should be very careful. Especially with chanting, because this is our only hope, is the holy name. There is no other hope, in fact. Of course, association with devotees and chanting and dancing together and feasting. But this is the only spiritual vow we take at the time of initiation. Only spiritual vow. We take vows also for 4 regulative principles, but this is basically just not to live sinful life. It has nothing to do with spiritual elevation. So our only vow is to chant without offense at least 16 rounds a day. So we should take it very seriously. It's our only connection. Only connection. Hare Krishna. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much. In this text was written that irreligion is his bag.
In previous verse,
previous.
in 32.
Can you explain what does it mean? Irreligion is his bag.
Of the Virat Purusha.
Yeah.
Yes, it's because it's something behind. If you want to hide something, you put it under behind your back. So it's not transparent. It's some cheating involved. You understand? So, in this sense, and as I mentioned, we had this yesterday morning. We discussed this verse. I said that we have a saying in Slovenian: if in the middle of nowhere, we said that one is behind God's back. So, you're lost. In other words, God's back means you're lost. That even God turned His back on you. Yes, and it's interesting. We also mentioned this, that in the Bible it is said that Moses saw the Lord's back. So we should try to be in front of the Lord, to serve the Lord, focusing on His chest, because it says here that it's religion. His chest is religion. Dharma. Okay. Hare Krishna. Please.
Hare Krishna, thank you Prabhu for your very nice lecture. So, you were talking about that we often we don't want to serve, and or maybe not, but we have to serve. But our egoistic nature here in this world, but we don't. For me, I can say I often don't want to serve, even my very near persons, and sometimes I try to serve, like often I try to serve, but I feel I don't want to, and because of this I get very frustrated with myself and with the others. And what should we do if we actually try to serve, but then the other part says I don't want to? How can
Yes. This is the fight between good and evil in our heart. As these Native Americans put it, it's like a fight between a good dog and a bad dog. And the fight will be won by the one with the dog that we feed. And the dog who will be starved to death will die. So even if we don't want to serve, we should first understand that it's necessary for our spiritual well-being to serve. And by this understanding, then we should act accordingly. And with not just to serve that we force ourselves, but just to serve, but with proper meditation. And meditation is that we serve Krishna. Even if we serve, I don't know, if we sweep the street, it's still, everything is Krishna's. So the street is also Krishna's. Our family members are also Krishna's family members. Everyone is Krishna's son or daughter, in fact. And whatever we do for service, or for whatever purpose, in fact, should be done for Krishna's satisfaction. This should be our meditation. And this is the training of our consciousness. Because our consciousness now is naturally trained to serve only ourselves. And this is material consciousness. Everyone is born with it. And we can see a small child is completely egocentric, just crying and wanting to have attention complete for himself or herself, without any service to others. But then, of course, just for functioning in the society, people are trained to, at least to some degree, serve other people. But when we become devotees, we should train us even further and further in this service mentality. Then we should adopt service mentality. Before this service is just the way that we are not rejected by society and that we can exploit others more efficiently, in fact. even if we don't consider this in these terms. But in fact, it's true. Every material relation is based on mutual exploitation, even between husbands and wives and children and parents. Mutual exploitation. Business deal to some degree or other. But we should train our consciousness to serve just for Krishna's pleasure, without any motive. Ahetuki, apratihata, that our devotion would become unconditional and uninterrupted to Krishna. And this will bring us satisfaction immediately. We can test. If we serve with this idea that I'm doing this for Krishna, we'll be happy immediately. Why we are not happy in serving? Because we think others are exploiting us for their purpose. But if we start to serve for Krishna's pleasure, then we'll be happy. But we should, of course, have this meditation. Without this meditation, we'll be miserable. We just have this feeling all the time that I'm putting in too much because I'm not getting enough from this deal. So I'm serving more than I'm getting back. You understand? But I don't think that you are like this. Everyone is like this. The proof is that we are in material world. Yes, but by this consciousness revolution, we can transcend this by avyabhicharini bhakti, by service mentality. Hare Krishna. Okay, yes.
Maybe just add-on question on this is, so this means, because you explained about the contaminated consciousness, where we serve only out of business mentality, practically, and so in relationships we have, so as devotees we also have relationships with husband, wife, and friends, and in community. So is the ideal relationship for a devotee is depending basically on his own consciousness, how he sees the exchange, how he perceives the exchange and enters into the exchange, or is it also based on the consciousness of the other person?
Yes.
I think sometimes this is like I can see by myself that I get influenced if somebody's in the serving mentality, I'm really happy also to serve. But if I feel like what you explained, somebody's not so much, then I feel like am I now wasting my time, or is it like do I do the right thing?
Yes, it's interesting, your observation. It's true. It's true. So, of course, if we see service mentality in others, we get inspired. But this will be rarely seen. Okay, in devotee association, this is most often to be seen in this material world, but still, even in devotee association, it's not so common. Therefore, we should train our consciousness in this way, to be servants of Krishna and of course of others. As just explained by Krishna himself, as I mentioned in the class, Etavajjana Safalyam, Dichinamachadikishu, Pranarartardiya Vacha, Shreya Acharanam Sada, that we should always serve others with our life, pranar, artar, with our wealth, with our intelligence, and our words. That otherwise we're less than trees. Krishna sometimes is very strong in his statements. Yes. So that's why it's sadhana bhakti. Sadhana means training of our consciousness. And Krishna always have these statements throughout Bhagavad-Gita. He says abhyasa yoga. That means drill of our consciousness. Constant practice. He always said, always think of me. Mayeva manadatsva, mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivesishyasi mayeva, aturdvama samshaya. It's said in 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That mayeva mana adatsva, that you should devote your mind to me. Mayi buddhim niveshaya, and you should always dwell within me with your intelligence. Maya sishyasi mayeva, by this you will certainly achieve me, without any doubt. But then he says, Atachetam samadatum nashaknoshi maistiram, abhyasa yogena tato mamichaptum dhananjaya. If you cannot absorb your consciousness in this way, then just devote yourself to practice, to sadhana bhakti. Abhyasa yoga. So, because maybe we are not able to be on the level of servant all the time, but we should practice. We should practice this mentality. Practice this mentality. And as you mentioned yourself, if we practice, if we act like this, we inspire others to become like this, because you are also inspired if you see that others have this service mentality. You will inspire also others, and this will be also the best service of Krishna. Inspiration. Yes. Hare Krishna. It's okay?
No?
Hare Krishna.
Bhagavata-dharma Prabhu. I have a question about self-development. Some people say you should learn actually in different kinds of science, mathematics and so on, so not only spiritual science. Even if I, for example, hearing from some yogis like Sadhguru, he speak about working with your mind and give some recommendation, and so my mind want to learn everything, and sometimes he forgets about reading Srimad Bhagavatam, something like this, because for him it's not interesting this anymore. How to be change this thinking? How to be become Krishna, that he will become interesting for me?
You should listen to enlightened people who are connected with Krishna. Of course, if you study something, you should also study it with the purpose to serve Krishna with it, with your knowledge. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't study mathematics, for example, if you're inclined to study mathematics. But you should use your mathematical knowledge for serving Krishna, to spreading Krishna consciousness, to use your skills in Krishna service. But just to waste time for some information, different information about this and that, is useless. So we should know where the absolute truth is. Absolute truth is in God's words. So Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, also other bona fide scriptures like Bible or Quran. So we should try to go deep in the relationship with the Lord. If we don't use our life for this purpose, every knowledge will be lost at the time of death. And it will be completely useless. In next life you'll again learn, this is A, this is B. Yes. What will be the use? Now for few years you're curious about something, and but you neglect your relationship with Krishna. So you should know, this is in my interest, and this is not in my interest. It pleases my mind, but it's not in my interest. Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Okay, I think we are quite late. Thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Please accept my humble